On your mark, get set, let's go. 17 days away from Halloween. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line, Armani Networks. Ryan won't be with us today, but joining us is a guy you all know. Maz at the desk right now. What's going on, Maz?
All right, man. I'm right here. I got to move up to the big boys.
You got to move up to the big boys desk,
I
right?
used to sit with the kids, but now I'm sitting with the big boys.
Well, speaking of the kids, chair, a.k.a. the Maz Cam, bringing in Terry Foster, Detroit legend, and one of Woodward Sports Zone. What's going on, T. Foster?
I'm at the kids' table, but you set yourself up for a joke. You said
Here we
17 days until Halloween, and the comeback was, well, Braylon, why'd you wear your Halloween costume so early?
I love the Samuel Jackson cap on you anyway. We got a good show for you guys today. We want to talk a little bit to Michael O'Hara of the DetroitLions.com. Also, we will be talking about the Red Wings. They start their season tonight against the Tampa Bay Lightning, returning Stanley Cup champions. But first, we got to go to a story that's never seeming to end, and that is the Las Vegas Raiders and what happened with John Gruden earlier this week, Monday. The emails that were surfacing, some of the things he said that had homophobic undertones as well as racial undertones. Finally, they got Mark Davis, the owner, to come out and make a statement. Can we get that statement up there?
He didn't say much.
He darn sure pretty much didn't say anything. All he said was, I have no comment. Ask the NFL. They have all the answers. You know, I'm going to come to you first, T-Foss. What do you make of this with Mark Davis not saying much, but it seems like he said more than you think?
I think he's saying, I'm okay with what he said, because how can you defend that or not say anything? The other thing is, you know, the NFL is always after the Raiders, and, you know, they hate them, and they've got this adversarial thing. But when I read this dude is basically saying, hey, what did Gruden say that was wrong? What did he do that was wrong? Ask the NFL, because I'm not giving you any answers. I don't like his answer at all.
Here's what I take out of it. He's telling Roger Goodell, hey, you screwed me. Why'd you do this to me? You work for me. Mark Davis isn't saying anything because he thought that Roger Goodell had his back. This is all about the Washington football team and all the emails that were supposed to come out about Daniel Snyder and how they work their workplace atmosphere. And all of a sudden, oops, here comes some John Gruden emails. He's 3,000 miles away on the left coast. We're here on the East Coast. What the heck did John Gruden have to do about this? All of a sudden, Roger Goodell reads, oh, let me see this. Oh, he said that about me?
Yeah.
Oh, he said that about me. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to leak these. Yeah. That's what Mark Davis is saying. He's like, the hell with you guys. I'm pissed.
Yeah, just looking at what Mark Davis says, to me it just seems as though, one, he may have already known this about John Gruden, may have some conversations similar to this to the ones in the emails, but also he's just mad that nobody else has been busted yet. He's mad that he got his guy. They hired John Gruden. It was they finally got the Vegas Raiders in a situation to be in the playoffs, to be the powerhouse, to have Gruden do what he said he was going to do, to be worth the contract that they paid him. They're 3-0. They lose 2 games. They're still 3-2. They're right still in the thick of things, and this comes out and they're leaking things one at a time to get rid of him. Why me? Why my guy? Why nobody else? I think that's what he's saying to you.
Well, he's also saying, and this had better keep going on down the line.
Yeah.
Somebody from Washington better get fired, or Snyder should lose his team, or somebody should get fired. So this ain't over. And I'm going to make sure that it's not over, because he's probably doing some stuff right now to make sure that this story keeps on going. You'll be talking about this next week.
No players have spoken out.
No, not at all.
Only
except Derek Carr.
Derek Carr did say, hey, look, I love John Gruden. I don't love his sins. I hope we could all gather around him and show him the right way. Carl Nassib, the first openly gay NFL player that is active, not Michael Sam, but Carl Nassib is on the Raiders. You know what he did yesterday, Terry? He asked for a personal day off yesterday, and Mike Mayock and Coach Rich gave it to him. So he's very upset. Without saying anything, he's very upset.
That's a very real thing. If you look at the courage that it took for Carl Nassib to come out and be openly gay, and to come out, to take that courage and take that step and say, you know what, I'm going to be who I am, I'm going to honor my truth. And to go through that, to get through that, and to think that you've passed all the negativity, especially as it relates to your organization, and to have something like this come out. You know, and I know that it was 10 years ago, but in the back of his mind, how are people talking about me when I'm not at the building? How are other people in the franchise talking about him, or the coaches and the GM? How are they talking about him? Is there more? So he's dealing with a lot of emotions as it relates to it, and he deserved a day off. I think we also have Coach Bisaccia on Gruden. If we have that soundbite, you'll get a chance to hear the
Not
new
a soundbite,
interim.
it's a tweet.
It's a tweet. Oh, this is the interim coach Bisaccia. We'll see what he says about John Gruden. Raiders coach Rich Bisaccia. Coach Gruden gave me a chance to coach in the National Football League, and I will always appreciate that. No one is bigger than the Raiders shield. That was a quote that came fresh out of his mouth. You know, I think that was a way to address it. That was a way to say thank you, and then that was a way to move on. What do you think about that, Maz?
I think he had nothing else to say. I mean, that's what can you say? You can't defend what John Gruden wrote in those emails over the last 7 to 10 years. But the problem is, I want to go to Terry on this. Who was the first team to hire the first NFL black head coach? It was Al Davis.
Los Angeles Raiders.
That's right. He hired Art Shell. So if
and he had the first female CEO as well,
did.
too. Yeah,
Amy Trask.
Amy Trask. Yeah.
Yes, I mean the Raiders, man. They are talk about a team that does what other teams don't do. They take the stand. They bring in Carl Nassib. You know, maybe they didn't know he was openly gay. He wasn't openly gay then. You had to know. They had to know that he was gay.
Right.
The
and
just
waiting for him.
Just waiting for it to get out. But Terry, if the old man was still here, Al Davis, what do you think would have happened in this?
No, knowing about him, Al Davis would have just. I mean, everything that would have hit the fan because he knows they're coming after his organization. He doesn't appreciate what the NFL does to them. This would be a bigger story with him because he'd be kicking down every door he can. It would really be nasty if Al Davis was still around.
Yeah, this is an interesting thing, and it's one that will not go away. They'll be talking about this. But you and I talked about something off camera, Maz, and I want to get Terry's opinion on this as well. Do you really want, because you see the coaches and you see some of the players saying, hey, let's get everybody's emails. Let's get all the GMs. Let's get all the coaches' emails. To be honest, and Roger Goodell has seen these. He's seen the $650,000. He's chosen to go after John Gruden. We know why. We saw what was said. I don't think the NFL really wants that to happen, because if you go after all those emails and you see what could happen, man, everybody could be out of a coach.
They may have to shut the league down.
I know. They can't do that because that would be a PR disaster. They've got to end this thing right now, but they've got to answer for the Washington football team. Remember when Michael Corleone sat down with his brother-in-law? He said, you got to answer for Sonny, Carlo. You got to answer for Sonny. Don't sit here and lie to me and say you didn't know that Sonny was getting whacked. Who did it? Someone's got to say.
Yeah, Carlo got his.
Okay, but check this out. If you open up all the emails with the NFL, you have to go through the emails that would explain how come there are no black quarterbacks, because they went through that issue back in the day.
Emails
how come there are no black head coaches? How come Colin Kaepernick is not in the league? Ed Reed is not in the league. You'd have to go through all those emails. So there's going to be a bunch of folks to get whacked. They don't want to do this.
Yeah, it would be a S show to say the least. You brought up the Washington football team a second ago, Matt. Something interesting happened today. The Washington football team, if we have that tweet, they announced that they were going to do something this coming Sunday, retiring Sean Taylor's jersey. If we have that tweet,
out of the blue.
Out of the blue, Sean Taylor was one of the premier safeties in the NFL. He was an individual out of the University of Miami, and he was going to be darn good.
Oh my God! Yeah.
I used to live in Miami in the off season. I used to live in Miami in the off-season. I used to live all around all those Miami guys, all the U guys. And I'm talking about anybody from Ed Reed, who is arguably the greatest safety of all time, to Willis McGahee, to Clinton Portis, to Frank Gore, to Antrell Rowe, Andre Johnson, and the list goes on. They all say that he was the greatest Hurricane of them all.
He's got a football life about him. The NFL Network, he's got his own story. And obviously struck down as a young man, shot dead horribly. But the kicker is in, and we all know, Washington's under fire, right?
Interesting timing.
They don't tell you ahead of time, hey, on October the 17th, we're going to retire Sean Taylor's number and put him on the Ring of Honor, and his number will never be worn again. They don't tell their season ticket holders that so they can prepare. They tell them the Thursday before a Sunday game, and why do they do that, Terry?
what normally you would release that on a Friday before a Sunday game because the news cycle just disappears on Friday. So that was actually a PR mistake on their part. But I hear what you're saying. Normally you would do it on a Friday, but they trying to sweep stuff under the rug. And
No, I'm saying they made this to take people's minds off of
what they did.
the emails and all the bad emails about Dan Snyder. Dan Snyder's like,
Snyder,
hey, leave me
Allen.
alone. Let's retire Sean Taylor's number.
It's like they were
Maybe
holding
won't
on to
ask.
that.
They were. That's their trump card.
That's stuff that they would be holding on to, that somebody, Sean Taylor, he passed away. And it just, going kind of to his career real quick, take a quick deviation. 3 years, 9 games into his career, Pro Bowl year of the year. His third year was his first Pro Bowl. Had more tackles than any safety ever in the history, 114 in his third year. He was really figuring football out, man. He was really getting it. He had a family. He had just had a son, so he had a family. And then he was hiring wide receivers or players for the University of Miami to do landscaping, and that's actually how he got murdered. One of the guys that he allowed to do some landscaping for him to get some money, put some money in his pocket. They broke into his house not thinking he was going to be there. He happened to be there. They panicked, and they shot him and hit him in the artery. And, the rest is history. He's no longer here. But
I didn't know that part.
Yeah, that's what happened. He let some guys do his landscaping down there, and usually he was in Washington during the season. So they would, I guess, do his landscaping.
Sure.
And maybe this time they said, okay, he won't be there. Let's break into his house. Let's do some extra stuff. And he happened to be there this particular time. He was in bed with his girlfriend and the mother of his child. And
terrible, man.
They panicked and shot him. But
so anyway, we take our hat off to him.
Yeah.
All these years later, his number 21 goes up into the rafters at a FedEx Field on Sunday.
That's going to be interesting, man. But more on that story. It'll be a lot more. Actually, the coaches, other players and coaches are starting to come out a little bit about the Gruden situation in Vegas. You had Brandon Staley, the head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. The Los Angeles Chargers. Do we have that soundbite or that?
No, we'll play that a little bit later because we got Mike O'Hara.
We do have Mike O'Hara coming up. Mike O'Hara, Detroit, the Dean. The Dean is coming up, so stay tuned with us. Armani and Edwards, Woodward Sports Network, The Bottom Line.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We're recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand.
Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10 and a half months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
Hire a graduate of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to The Bottom Line on Woodward Sports Network. Braylon Edwards, Terry Foster, Tom Mazaway in for Ryan Ermani today. Ryan needed this day off, man.
Yeah, he's been busting his booty, man.
Oh, my God. Getting up at 2 in the morning for the past 2 weeks. Plus, he had some doctor appointments. So, we got him back tomorrow for the Friday show.
We got you back, buddy.
And we got him covered. We got some Detroit Lions talk coming up with the dean of all Lion beat writers, the man that invented beat writing. It's Mike O'Hara joining us on the hotline right now. Hey, Mo, welcome in.
Well, good. Thanks for having me. I'm just getting out here outside so I don't bother anybody. Yeah, the Dean, I don't know about that. Maybe Doom, but not Dean.
You're bothering us. That's okay, but thanks for coming on. Hey, your main man, Terry Foster. Didn't you bring him up into business, Mo?
Well, this is kind of interesting because I have a connection to all three of you people, and it's I feel like I'm in a reunion. I think we kind of get forgotten in the promotions of the renaissance of that show.
We do.
Terry Foster, I knew him when he was 15 or 16 years old. The love of my life at the time, Katie Shaw was working there. I knew his mother, Roxanne. I became friends with her, and then Terry went on to do great things with the Detroit Free Press, and then the Detroit News, really a great asset to journalism as a whole. And Braylon Edwards, I don't even know he remembers this, but he was at the Lions either for his rookie visit or free agent visit. I'm not sure which, but I asked him where he lived, and he said on Briarcliff Street in Detroit.
Yes, sir.
I live one street over.
On Renfrew, I think.
No, I live on Litchfield. And
Litchfield.
My
okay,
question for you, though.
way.
My question for you, though, is you had 16 touchdown catches in 2007. The Detroit Lions need a wide receiver. Why don't you get to the gym and get out here and make a few $1 million?
I'm telling you, I'm in some bit of shape right now. I might be able to go out there and give you 8 plays a game. I can do 2 a quarter.
eight plays a game. If you get to the end zone, make it 6. I don't care.
There you go.
We need him here, Mo. We can't afford to let him go.
But I want to be his agent.
I don't
Hey,
blame you.
you know what?
I get a piece.
If I go that route, Mike, you definitely would be the agent. You will negotiate that deal.
Get that 10%.
Sounds good to me.
Hey,
But
Mo,
anyway, hail to the Green Acres neighborhood.
Bring us up to date on these Lions, man. Beat up, beyond beat up. I mean, who's even starting anymore on this team? They get the Cincinnati Bengals this week. What do you expect out of this game?
Well, I think look, all the games are tough they're tough enough to begin with, no matter who's playing who, whether it's the Jacksonville Jaguars, versus the Cowboys or whatever. It really is. It's a tough game. And Braylon can tell you that. It's never take anything for granted. But it's tougher still when you're not playing with your starters, and it's tougher even still when you're playing backups to backups, and that's been the case really at wide receiver. Understand that, Braylon, at wide receiver. That's been the case, and it's also the case been in the defensive backfield. And look, there are two in this era of sports. There are two position groups that really can change a game for you. One is the secondary, where they're up against the rules, and then the other side of it is wide receivers with the rules. It's almost impossible to touch those guys until they catch the ball, or just the way the rules are to protect them. So the Detroit Lions are kind of hurting in both of those areas right now.
Yeah, Mike, coming through, and you talk about the team is hurting in those areas. You just talk about in the beginning of the season period, even before the injuries, they were hurting in a lot of areas. Wide receiver being one of them. But Dan Campbell talked about wanting to change the identity of this team. He talked about wanting to change the culture, change the identity of the Detroit Lions. Well, one thing that hasn't changed, and one thing that always been the Detroit Lions' Achilles heel, is slow starts. The Lions have always traditionally started off a game slow, and that has not changed this year. If you look at the Lions right now, they are averaging 6 points in the first half through 5 games this season. How do the Lions get on track and start fast? How do they change it up a little bit and kind of maybe do somewhat like they did in that Green Bay game?
Yeah, I agree with that. Really, that's been a problem for them. It's not just that, but they've had what I call stall-outs. So Green Bay was just the reverse of what you're talking about. They had a 17-14 lead at the end of the first half. They never got another sniff, and they got beat. I think it was 35-17. I think was the final score. Couldn't score again, and that's happened to them time and time again. Starting with in the opener against the San Francisco 49ers, it's 41-13. They end up losing 41-33. They get 2 late touchdowns and a couple of 2-point conversions late in the fourth quarter. But you're right. It really changes the way you play when you're playing from behind. It really does. Sometimes you can make a run of it like the Lions did 3 weeks ago against the Ravens, only to lose on a National Football League record 66-yard field goal, and then just last week in Minnesota, just another heartbreaker. Get the lead with 37 seconds to go, score 11 points there in the last 2 minutes, and then out comes the kicker, a 54-yarder, big go, game over. So you're right, exactly. But I think just to add to what you're saying, and you're 100% right, you've got to score and keep scoring. Now, it sounds easier than it is, but you've got to be threatening from the beginning of the game until the end, because it changes the game when you're not.
Yeah.
Mike O'Hara joins us, DetroitLions.com. Of course, longtime Detroit Lions beat writer, Terry Foster.
Yeah, Mike, what's going to happen first? Lions victory or December?
Oh, my God.
Wait a minute.
It's tough.
I'll say Lions victory. In fact, I think they've got a good shot against the Bengals this week. I really do. The Bengals are 3-2, and they're building a team that looks to me like a slow build. It really does. They were 2-14 in Zach Taylor's first season, and then 4-11-1. And I know they're 3-2, and one of their wins was over the Jacksonville Jaguars. So they don't look to me like a team that's on the fast track to turn it around. But I like the Lions Sunday. I don't love them. Look, I'd like to bet Braylon's money on this game, but
my cat.
But I don't think I would bet my own. But I like him in this game. I really do.
So, Mike, you're not calling it the lock of the millennial, are you? Or the millennium?
No, not quite yet. Matter of fact, I think Terry prompted me into doing this one time. My lock of the millennium was when I had an absolute thought it was a lock, and one year my lock of the millennium lost. So the next week I had a fiscal lock of a millennium, and another one the next week. So I can change time when I want to.
Of course you could.
Hey, Mike, you see Dan Campbell's reaction. You see his response at the end of the game this past weekend, the loss to Minnesota. You saw the emotion that poured through him.
Yep.
And then you see DeAndre Swift's, his emotions as well. Talk about Dan Campbell's emotion, and tell me, do you think that's something that can rally a team, or do you think that's something that's just overdone? What do you think about? What do you make of that?
I don't think it's overdone, and I write a weekly column for DetroitLions.com. It's our website, and it's called What We Learned. And I think one thing we've learned, and I think I knew this before, but what you saw from Dan Campbell on Monday in his post-game press conference, that was the real Dan Campbell. It really was. What you saw Monday at his press conference at 2:15 p.m., where he started with a statement, not a prepared statement, but he just talked about the game, and he was methodical, and he was in control and all that. That's the real Dan Campbell too. He's not. He is what he is, and when he's in front of that team, when he's in front of the mic, you're getting the real thing. You're getting what he really is for that moment, and I think it's appropriate. I really do. I think it's appropriate behavior. It's not staged. It's not somebody holding a cue card for him. Now you cheer up. Things like that. He's telling you what he feels at the moment, and at that press conference, it's well thought out. And honestly, if you listen to what he had to say in the locker room at the podium after the game Sunday, that was exactly it too. I really enjoy listening to him. Enjoy being around him.
Yeah, Mike. There's another layer to this I'd like to introduce. I've talked to a number of Lion ex-players, and they said that if you ask anybody in the league, is the Lions their dream job, they're going to tell you no. But for Dan Campbell, what they were trying to solicit is get an ex-player or someone within the organization as head coach. This is their dream job, and they said that Dan Campbell, this is his dream job, and you can't find anybody else in the league who would say that, and that's why we saw the emotion. That's why he cares, and that's why they say he's not doing this for a paycheck. They think that other guys get job. Matt Millen and other guys got the job. So if they can turn the Lions around, then they are going to be viewed around the league as these real big difference makers. But for a guy like Dan Campbell, he wants to turn the Lions around because he loves the Lions, and that's the difference.
Well, that's part of it, too. That's a good point by you. Look, I remember him from his, I think he played 11 years in the league. Just a tough guy. I mean, if you look at him, you see him in his interviews, his post-game interviews, and the other stuff he does during the week. You talk about a guy who's built, man. He's got shoulders. And he was a tough ball player. His last 3 years in the league, 2006, 7, and 8, were with the Detroit Lions, and I remember him as a player now. He had a pretty good 2006 season under Rod Marinelli, another tough guy, believe me. And then it was hurt the last 2 years. In fact, he only played the opening game in 2008, which is pretty common in those days. It still is. The guy's out for the season. They let him go home and do their rehab at home and just check in from time to time once they've been put on injured reserve. But yeah, I don't disagree with what you're saying about this being his job, because I think it's his kind of job too. Look, he's had a really good run as an assistant coach the last 5 or 6 years with the New Orleans Saints. And when he took that job, their head coach down there told him, look, you take this job because you just had the interim job at Miami. I will teach you how to be a head coach. And you can see a lot of things that he's learned on the way up the ladder to be a head coach.
Mike, last question before we let you go. You've been around for plenty of coaches, including the great Darryl Rogers. What's a guy got to do to get fired around here? Have you ever seen a coach react the way Dan Campbell did?
Well, first, I just want to clear up one thing about it. I think there was a flaw on the 5 of us when Darryl made that statement. And what he really meant was, it's really been misconstrued. What he really meant was how gracious William Clay Ford was with his head coaches. He didn't want to get fired. He wanted to keep coaching, which he did for another year before he got let go. What was the other part of your question, Tommy, before I set you straight on that?
Thank you for setting me straight.
Get him straight.
Have you ever seen a coach in your days react like Dan Campbell did on Sunday?
Yeah, in basketball, Dick Vitale after practice.
Good point. Good point.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. But when you talk about dream coaches, by the way, look, Jim Caldwell was really a respected man when the Detroit Lions hired him. I don't know if it was coaching is his dream job. I don't think it matters, where he is now. When you talk about a former player becoming head coach of the Detroit Lions, you add another element to it. But guys like Jim Caldwell, coaching itself is their dream job wherever they land. So I don't think let's not sell people like that short, because I'll tell you one thing, he did change the culture here. He really did after taking over, the job and what had transpired in the 4 or 5 years before that. Caldwell really made a difference, and I'll tell you what, he was beloved in this building.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was.
Hey, Mo, thanks a lot, man. Continued success. Keep us posted, and we'll check back with you. Good luck the rest of the season. We'll see you Sunday.
All right, guys. Hey, good being with the three of you. Really appreciated it.
Hey, it's our
Thanks
pleasure,
a lot,
man. Mike O'Hara, DetroitLions.com, the dean.
Yeah, that's the only problem talking with Michael
reporters.
O'Hara. He clears up the history. Now, I like it the other way, where Darryl Rogers was just pissed off and said, "What's a guy got to do to get fired around
Isn't
here?"
that great?
Mike was actually here, so he puts it in perspective. So that's great.
Yeah, we got to get to a break right now, but let's come back and talk about what he said. Let's touch on that and kind of break that down. What he's talking about the Detroit Lions, Dan Campbell. This is Armani and Edwards, Woodward Sports Network. The Bottom Line.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
A new career in an industry that is always essential. You always want to be heated up and cooled down in the summer. Learn more today by visiting northwesterntech.edu.
Welcome you back to Armani and Edwards, Woodward Sports Network. The Bottom Line. Mike O'Hara had some interesting takes. He
always does.
He sided in what we said about Dan Campbell. He talked about the authenticity of who he is. He talked about those were real tears. That was real emotions. And then the flip side on Monday, that was him as well. Terry, I want to talk to you. A guy like Dan Campbell and what he's done so far this season in terms of endearing the community and the players, do you think this guy can win here? Do you think they will win with Dan Campbell? Or do you think this will come to an end like most Detroit regimes do?
They can if he learns how to manage the last part of games. I think what's lost in the tears and what's lost in the screaming and yelling is that I think they've made defensive mistakes at the end of games. Dan Campbell, bite the kneecaps. Dan Campbell, let's go for fourth down. Let's be aggressive. And I think at the last seconds of a game, when it's time to shut somebody down, they all of a sudden become passive. So that's the thing that I fear with Dan Campbell. Is he putting his team in difficult positions because he wants to know how they respond to this? Or is he just still learning on the job? If he's still learning on the job, I kind of fear that whoever they hire next would be the guy that takes the Lions over the top.
Well, Terry, isn't he trusting his defensive coordinator, Aaron Glenn? Or does he have the very last say?
Yeah, but you know what? You trust your defensive coordinator, but you say, give me your best defensive alignment and let's talk about this. I know we only have a few seconds, but I don't agree with becoming passive. Give me something where we're aggressive all the way from the start to the end.
Yeah, that's very true. With head coaches' job is to trust their offensive coordinator and to trust their defensive coordinator. But it's also to know situations and know what they ultimately might want to do in situations. And it's also to learn from the past. You look at what Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn did. Well, Aaron Glenn did against the Baltimore Ravens. They played three. They rushed three. And thought that they weren't going to get it with Lamar Jackson. They didn't trust his arm as a quarterback. And guess what?
Mistake.
He ends up getting it, and he gets the field goal. They break the record. 2 weeks later, what happens? Same exact thing. So some of that can be on Dan Campbell as well as Aaron Glenn.
I mean, they didn't have any time to really think about it. They take the lead on a 2-point conversion with 37 seconds to go. They kick it off. 2 plays later, Vikings are lining up. Giving their field goal kicker, Joseph, another chance. He misses a 48-yarder just 5 minutes before that, and he hits the 54-yarder to win it. That's just That's Lion luck, Terry. That's Lions luck.
It is Lions luck, but the Lions put themselves in that position by giving up big plays. That's sort of what they do. But what we do is we focus on, like the week before, on the official's mistake. We focus on other things. We focus on the length of the field goal. But to be in that position, the Lions had to play crappy at the end to give that team an opportunity to
They're
do that.
also undermanned, Terry. They don't have the talent that the Minnesota Vikings have.
No, they don't. But you're not supposed to give up 54 yards in 37 seconds. I'm sorry. That's not acceptable. I don't care who you are.
This is very true. I want to actually hit on something else you said, because I was thinking this too. Everybody around the nation is on Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions side right now. They believe in Dan Campbell. They believe in the Tears.
They're rooting for him.
They're rooting for the underdogs. They're rooting for the guys that are fighting, clawing, and scratching to the end. Anybody from Tiki Barber to Sean Payton to Drew Brees, Joy Taylor, Colin. The list goes on of people that are on their side.
Dan Orlovsky.
Yeah. But you know the flip side of that is that doesn't last for long.
No.
Like, people are on their side now, Terry, and you bring up a good point. But you go 0-6, but you go 0-7, but you go 0-8, and all that love tends to disappear. You really think that if they continue to go that way, then all could be for naught, and there's somebody could be else?
I think the love could leave the locker room. Now, here we're in this city. Everybody wants losses so they can get, not everybody, a lot of people want losses so they can get that number one pick. But at some point, and I'm not saying, you know, not in December, January. In the next few weeks, the Lions need a win, or else he could lose that locker room. Because they could say, okay, coach, we know you've been telling us all this, but we're 0-9 now. What the hell are we supposed to do? So the Lions are going to have to produce a win. Wouldn't be a bad idea to get against Cincinnati, who's vulnerable.
Yeah.
So he's got to show them that they can win with his words and with his beliefs and his emotion.
You know who's next week, right, Terry? It's Matthew Stafford and the Rams.
Yeah, but you just made the cardinal mistake. One game at a time. Cincinnati's first.
You don't think they're overlooking Cincinnati?
No.
I know the fans are.
No way.
I know the fans are.
The fans are, for sure.
The fans are definitely. But you got to get a win. You got to get to a point. You have to get a win. It's the NFL. I understand that you can only go so long with the narrative. Underman, injuries, etc. At the end of the day, this is still the NFL. You guys were studs somewhere. You guys learned how to play football somewhere. You were all something somewhere. You got to get a win. You can't get close. You got to get a win. You agree, Terry?
Absolutely, because you could lose that locker room. Now, once again, you're telling me to do this, and I've been doing it. Yes, I'm not the most talented guy in the world, but you're supposed to put me in a position where I can win 1 week, but if it keeps going 0-7, 0-8, 0-9, then guys could be saying, hey, you know what, I give up.
All right, we got to get to a break. But tonight, ESPN, the Wings are back going against the Tampa Bay Lightning, Yzerman's former franchise. It's going to be fun. We got somebody on the phone who knows a little bit about being a Detroit Red Wings and winning the Stanley Cup. Stay tuned. Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust resistant and made for all-weather use. And the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
In a year of really ups and downs with way more downs, this has been something that, has really been a high for me. I was ready.
I like it a lot more than on TV.
Fans, we've missed you. The best fans in hockey. So we wanted to say welcome back and welcome home.
That was a heck of a video by you
cool?
right there, Mass.
Isn't that
That's
cool?
a heck of a video. It's something about videos when done the right way. Even a bad video can still be cool and be
Give
good.
you the chills,
but
man.
Man, it gives you the
Detroit
chills.
Red Wings do a hell of a job. Their social media is second to none. Terry, what'd you think of that? You ready for Hockey Town?
Yes, I was watching opening night, and so yeah, I'm ready for the Red Wings season to begin. It's not expecting a lot of them this season, but I don't know where they're headed, and those are the questions I want answered. How far along in the process are they? We know they're not going to be very good, but is it a team that can at least compete for a playoff spot? Is it a team that can be like the Pistons where, yeah, they lost, but, man, they gave the other team hell? Are they going to be like that, or are they going to just lose? That's what I want to know.
If you're watching us on Twitter and YouTube, you just saw the picture up there. You see that Dylan Larkin was named captain, Michigan guy. I'm always excited about that. I'm just excited to see, we haven't been to the playoffs since 2016. You've been hearing a lot of good things out of.
That was a hell of a run.
Oh, man. Yeah, lost first. Yeah, it was a hell of a run in the final of the season. Lost in the first round that year. Interested to see what Lucas Raymond does. Oh, here we go. Look at this picture. This is myself and the man, Chris Chelios.
Oh.
This would have been the last home game before COVID struck. This was against the Blackhawks. This was the last game. You see me wearing the Dylan Larkin jersey as I talk about him. So shout out to Dylan Larkin. Congrats on being a cap. But yeah, you want to see if Lucas Raymond, who had an amazing training camp, comes out and if he's the stud. And who better to tell us about Lucas Raymond and if he's a stud than the guy, D-Mac, Big D Energy. He's our guy in the studio. He's the Wings guy. He is the man. D-Mac, what's going on, buddy?
Darren McCarty, bring it in.
Speaking of studs.
Hey, Mac. Fish. All right.
Looks like we might be having some issues.
We'll
with
try
Darren
to get
Carr.
Mac up on the phone here.
We'll try again. But, yeah, you want to see if Lucas Raymond can be the guy. Because when I think about guys in any sport, especially on hockey, you think about guys that can score, guys that can get points. And we haven't had that in a very long time. Is Lucas Raymond going to be the next guy for us?
We hope so. Steve Eisenman drafted him, and he really speaks highly of him. I heard Art Regner on Big D Energy. Art, of course, longtime Red Wing guy, and he's with DetroitRedWings.com. Part of the entertainment there with Darren McCarty, Carly, and the rest of the gang. You could be there in game tonight. You'll see D-Mac in between periods, of course, on the concourse. Art's going to be there. Arturo.
Talk about Art.
You're going to be there on tonight,
I will
Art?
be there. Yeah, I'm excited. You mentioned Carly, and I'm excited to meet her. I'm excited to meet the whole crew there, Ken Cal, and it's
Ken Daniels, Mickey Redmond.
Yeah, the crazy thing is like you see these people on TV and you see them, as personalities, and they're part of the crew too. But I think we're just excited for some positivity in the Detroit market. Regardless if they win or lose tonight, of course I want them to win, but it's a season opener. Everybody's excited.
And since it's a season opener, I'll put that tweet up that tells you all the rules at Little Caesars Arena. I'm going to let Braylon read them so everybody knows this is how you get in a home game right now. So we're going to put that up. And, of course, Terry, if you put $100 on the Red Wings to win the Stanley Cup, you could win yourself $15,000. They are plus $1,500.
I need more than that.
$15,000 to win the cup.
I need more than that.
I would put that up, but we have someone way more important to talk about right now.
Who's that?
You got to wear your mask. It's recommended that you wear a mask. You don't have
no
to.
Purses.
No purses.
Wallet size only.
Your
clear.
Tickets, your tickets need to be on the app and all that. But we've got someone who can explain what it's like in LCA a little bit better, and that's D-Mac.
Hopefully D-Mac is on right now.
What's going on, buddy?
Oh, come on. I just heard him say hello.
Did D-Mac hang up on us? He might have been playing a prank.
No, there's a little squiggly lines up there. He's there.
Well, squiggly lines means he's there. But obviously, we're having a hard time Fish with the phone. So anyway.
Oh, yeah. No, I just heard him say, can you guys hear me or no? Come on, Fish. Put that up.
I'm not hearing him.
No.
No.
You guys can hear it?
There we go.
There we go.
There we go.
System and the friggin' D-Mix are the same.
D-Mac.
Mac, why did you V-Mix in? You know better. You know better.
Yeah.
We lose him again?
Oh, come on.
It's opening night. You should be here, brother. What's up with you?
He's heading down. He's heading down to the Joe now. He's
probably
got to get all
already.
dialed up. He's got to get all dialed up. What a mess right now.
He just hung up.
All right, that sounds
Well,
good.
that makes sense. Also, I really want to talk to D-Mac about Mort Sider, because the other side of training camp, what came out of that was Mort Sider. Mort Sider is the guy that's going to shore up that back end, and he actually really could be more of an impactful player than Lucas Raymond. So, tune in tonight. They're playing on ESPN. I
think they're on Bally Sports Detroit.
Bally Sports
Ken Daniels,
Detroit.
Mickey Redmond on the call. And of course, if you're going down live, check out Art in the concourse with Darren McCarty, Carly, and the rest of the Big D Energy crew that's going to be down there. Terry, when's the last time you went down there to see a Red Wing game?
It was 2 years ago, and it was a brutal game. It was the Chicago Blackhawks, and the Blackhawks won 4-0. And I swear, the Blackhawks appeared to be on the power play for all 60 minutes, and it was just a
sounds about right.
It was just a brutal game.
Yeah. Let's switch gears, since we don't have D-Mac and we have our Red Wings professional, our expertise in a sense. There is another game tonight, Thursday Night Football, involving Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going against Philadelphia's Jalen Hurts. It's in Philadelphia. The Philadelphia Eagles are +7.
They're getting 7 points at home. I'm going to tell you right now, I love the Eagles and the points. I don't think they could win, but they're going to cover this game. They've been great Thursday night games. Yeah. I mean, the games, you said it.
I told you.
The games have been awesome all year round. And you know what I watched last night?
What did you watch? Oh, you watched the replay.
I watched the Chargers and the Browns. It was awesome.
Was it good again?
It was great. Because I didn't watch it on Sunday.
Oh,
yeah,
we didn't get a chance.
You know what? And maybe it's at a different time, but I love football. But, the final game of the Giants and Dodgers, I got to check that out.
That's at 9 o'clock.
Yeah,
that's going to take its time, Terry. That'll go to midnight. The football game will be done before 11 o'clock tonight.
No, we'll get into that. Going back to this Bucs game, and I want to bring up something to you, Terry. Tom Brady is operating at a clip he's never operated before. He's clearly the favorite right now in the NFL for the MVP. You look, he has the most yards passing, he has the most touchdowns, the fewest amount of interceptions, and they have only had one loss. They're 4-1. They're playing an Eagles team on the road that has scored points but has struggled. What can Tom Brady keep this pace up? Like, that's the question. At 44 years old, can Tom Brady keep this pace up?
Brother, you brought up 44 years old.
That's tough.
And to me, when you look at what's happened to Ben Roethlisberger, who's younger, when you look at Drew Brees, when you look at other quarterbacks in their 30s and early 40s, and they just like that, they disappear. And I look at athletes in different sports, and they look good early in the season, and then later on you say, well, why are they losing? And they said, you know what, look like this brother just got tired. At some point, we're going to look at Tom Brady and say, you know what? This dude just got tired. And I thought we saw that like 3 years ago. He looked like he was tired, but then he got a rebirth.
You know what, Terry? You said something very important, and Maz, I want to get your thoughts on that. You said he got tired. It's early in the year. Early on in the year, he's doing it, but the one problem I have is that the defense that was so good in the playoffs last year is nowhere to be found. Every yard that Tom Brady has passed for has been needed. Every touchdown that has been scored, they have needed, much unlike last year in the playoffs. And it's early. Tom Brady may be 44 and playing at a high level now, but there are 12 games of can he operate like that with all the passes that he's throwing, all the dropping back that he's doing? I don't know if he can do it, man.
Well, he's missing Gronkowski, too, and that's going to be big. If he can come back here in the next couple of weeks, they get a bye then, and I think they can keep it going. They're terrific. The offense is clicking on all cylinders, and they're doing it really without a running game as well.
That's another thing.
Brady's,
you're right.
He's peaking, and isn't this the 1 year? Isn't this the anniversary?
This is.
Of his first touchdown pass ever against the Chargers.
To Terry Glenn.
Happened to be today with Tom Brady playing on Thursday Night Football. Now, Jalen Hurts, another Oklahoma guy that transferred from Alabama. All these quarterbacks that are out there, Terry. What are your thoughts on all these young quarterbacks coming in, especially like a guy like Jalen Hurts, who was kind of passed up, and now he's with the Eagles, and they're putting all their eggs in his basket right now.
Yeah, you know what? I think my thought is more on society or followers of the NFL. So I'm an old guy, and when you put in a young quarterback, 9 times out of 10, he's going to throw more interceptions than touchdown passes. And that used to be accepted. We don't accept that anymore. We put too much pressure on these young guys. Being an NFL quarterback is a difficult thing. And we as a society can't understand, well, how come these guys aren't doing better? And I saw a story that said, how come these guys aren't doing better? And then once it got into the history of young quarterbacks, it kind of explained it. This has been going on forever. But now we don't give these kids time to develop. Back in the day, I'm going to be old man, they used to sit your ass on the bench for a couple years. And then you came in and did your thing.
Yeah, they have been sitting quarterbacks on the bench in the past and then allowing them to take their turn. You look at a guy like Aaron Rodgers who had to learn under Brett Farve, and he went on to win the Super Bowl in his 3rd year, I believe. And you look at Patrick Mahomes kind of waiting for Alex Smith and then taking over and then winning the Super Bowl. But I think you're seeing some quarterbacks operate in year one. And I think the reason why you're seeing that is they're changing the way in which they draft these guys. Before they would draft guys, sit them and make them fit the system, or they wouldn't draft a guy that had a lot of talent because he didn't fit their system. Now you're looking with guys like Lamar Jackson and John Harbaugh. They drafted Lamar Jackson and they bought Louisville's system to Baltimore. They said, hey, we need this guy. This guy is a stud. We will change our system to fit him. And my God, if they're not having success, you look at Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers. Their system fits him, and they're having success. So I think that's the way they're doing it nowadays, Maz. They're not trying to fit kids into their system. Who can we draft that's great and take his system?
We passed them up already, man. And I'll bring this up to Terry, man, because we talk about it ad nauseum with me, you, and Ryan. The Lions, Terry, have never really taken a chance on a guy. I mean, look at Baltimore. They trade up to get into the last pick of that first round a few years ago, and they take this kid Lamar Jackson, who
MVP year 2,
who's an MVP, and he could be an MVP again this year. Last year, 2 years ago, Lions, you get Quinn and Patricia here coaching for their jobs, so they think this kid Jeff Okudah is going to save him. Poor Jeff Okudah, never had a chance, and he was outmanned from the get-go. They trade Darius Slay away. They get rid of Quinn. They get rid of all these guys, all these great players that they had here, these veterans that could have taught him something. And they pass up these quarterbacks like Tua. They pass up Justin Herbert. And then last year, they give up on Mac Jones, and they give up on, who was the other guy? The guy from Chicago.
Fields.
Justin Fields. Why don't the Lions ever go for that, take that chance? They were so happy to get Penei Sewell because he was the can't-miss kid. But they passed up on a chance to really get their quarterback.
Okay, I'm going to give you the answer you don't like.
Hold on, Terry. Hold that thought. We got to get us to a break, but we will come back with more on the Detroit Lions and why they haven't made the decisions that they should have made in the past. And also, you're right, Terry, the Dodgers and Giants are playing a Game 5 tonight. Interesting stat about that when we get back. Stay tuned for more. Woodward Sports Network, Monty and Edwards, The Bottom Line.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
Hey everybody, it's Maz from MyBookie.ag, our studio sponsors, and the only place that I put my bets in. I already bet on the Giants and the Dodgers tonight. I'll tell you who it is later. And the Eagles and the Bucks are playing tonight on Thursday Night Football. I got a lock for you coming up, and you can do it with MyBookie. Don't forget that promo code Woodward. They will match your first deposit all the way up to $1,000. So put that Woodward in there for your promo code. How about the Arizona Cardinals? That's Braylon's team. The hottest team in football, undefeated. The Chiefs, they got as many losses as they did all last year. They get the Washington football team this week. So get your picks in for week number 6 between 2 potential Super Bowl contenders, the Cardinals and the Browns.
Oh,
what?
Man.
The Cardinals and the Browns. Don't miss out on winning season. You head to mybookie.ag. Use that promo code Woodward to double your first deposit. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. If you have a problem gambling, call 800-270-7117.
Welcome back to the bottom line. Maz and T. False in the studio
Yes,
with
sir.
us, having a good time today. T, I want to go right back to you talking about what the Detroit Lions haven't done in terms of draft picks, the ones that they've missed out on in the last couple of years. You had a good take. Go ahead and jump right back at it.
Because, and Maz, this is the answer. You're not. Why don't the Lions get the quarterbacks? And
why don't they take a chance?
Take a chance because they're the Lions. The Lions are not innovative. They're not creative, and they're not forward thinking. That is why the Lions have won one playoff game in the last 60 years. Let's look at the last 12 years. This organization every year had to soft pedal with Matthew Stafford. Not only were they not going to draft a quarterback high, they didn't even give this man competition for the starting job.
Ugh.
So let alone select a quarterback in the first round. So they just don't do that.
But it's 2 years in a row now that they've passed up on a possible future quarterback. Yes, they traded for a young 26-year-old Jared Goff. By the way, happy birthday to Jared Goff. Today is his birthday.
Highest rated passer to be 0-5 in NFL history.
I know, but he's throwing,
stat.
he's deking and dunking. He's throwing 5-yard passes. I mean, he's throwing behind the line of scrimmage for most of his completions.
I don't make the stats. I just read them all.
I know.
I think to answer that question, the Lions are so devoid of talent that they feel they have to get their defensive linemen, offensive linemen. They have to find a playmaker, and that they're going to get their quarterback at some point. They're probably afraid if they get their quarterback of the future, by the time he's ready as a quarterback, he'll be broken down, beaten up, and this town is so rough on starting quarterbacks. We're going to be saying, get this bum the hell out of here. That's why they haven't
This is
drafted
a new
quarterback
regime,
yet.
man. This is supposed to be new.
I understand that, but I think they understand the mentality of this town.
Well,
you want your quarterback coming next year or the year after.
One way to protect quarterback is
Then you got to wait 3-4 more years.
Well, hopefully you get a system in play. Hopefully you get your defense in play. Hopefully you get your offensive line in play.
Don't mention defense to me. You know who I wanted in the
Michael
draft.
Parsons. Hopefully you get your defense in play in terms of their mentality. Hopefully you get your offensive line healthy. And then hopefully you establish the running game with Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift. That's why you see them going short passes with Jared Goff. One, they don't trust him to throw the deep ball. They don't trust him to put the ball in the intermediate to deep ball zone. So they want to get the ball into the running back's hands immediately. They want receiver screens with Amon-Ra St. Brown as well as Quintez Cephas before he got hurt. But it's tough. They're 0-5. The regime seems like they have it together a little bit in terms of drafting, but it's just 0-5. You start questioning everything, right?
I thought they were 0-4, buddy.
They're 0-5.
Oh, you've already counted Cincinnati's a loss.
No, they're 0-5.
Are they 0-5?
Yeah.
I thought it was
This
4.
is week 6.
Okay, I'm 1 week behind. then.
That's okay.
No.
All right.
Good for you to take a loss away.
They're winless, but the other thing, Maz, is with this mess you've got with the Lions, what quarterback that's been drafted in the last 2 years? You get anyone that you want to put in this thing.
But you want to sit him down. You want to sit him. You could have had him to sit behind Matthew Stafford, and then you trade him to the Rams or trade him to the Panthers.
Matthew Stafford, meanwhile, said, "Hey, get me the hell out of here."
He's escaped Alcatraz.
Yeah,
there's no question about it. I'm one of the ones that are happy for him. I always said he's going to do great. Art and I were on the boat. We're on the Save Stafford boat.
And rightfully so. But to switch gears, get out of a team that's 0-5 and get to two teams that know how to win tonight. You got Game 5 in LSDS. You have the Dodgers and the Giants. What do you make of that game? It's at Oracle. It's supposed to be moist conditions, which means the ball won't travel far, which means the Dodgers, they might be in trouble with those bats. What do you think, T?
Yeah, they could, because they're the more explosive team. First of all, one of the great rivalries in sports. That there could be a fight tonight. There could be more fights and home runs tonight if it's going to be a little bit moist.
The former New York Giants and Brooklyn Dodgers. People forget that.
Right, that's right.
They've always been together.
You can
these teams.
You can take people out of New York, but you can't take the New York out of the people.
Little known fact: there are only 4 teams ever to face each other in an elimination game with 100 wins each, but it does
Look
not.
at you.
It does not favor the Giants because each of the 4 teams that won had the fewest wins of the two. Maz, what do the Dodgers have to do to win this game?
I personally think they're the better team. I mean, they were the heavy favorite this year coming in.
Yeah.
The Giants are the surprise team. Gabe Kapler, former Tiger, Beefcake, back in the day, former Philadelphia Phillies manager. He got trashed in Philly, and all of a sudden San Francisco's like, you know what? I like this guy. He comes in with his analytics. He comes in. He's chewing that gum. He kills his gum, by the way. Yeah. Check out Gabe Kapler in the dugout tonight. He kills the gum. But I will tell you this: Dodgers, I think, have the advantage tonight. I think they're obviously the defending world champs. Giants are playing with house money. They have the best record in baseball, 107 wins. They had it's 2-2. Anyone wins this game, and we wanted this for the National League Championship Series. Instead, it's for the NLDS, and I know you had a problem with that. You want to reseed going forward.
Man.
I think you're right because the Atlanta Braves, I don't even know if they won 90 games this year, and they're waiting to get the winner of this game in the NLCS. So I give the advantage to the Dodgers tonight, although the Giants are home.
I think the Dodgers have the advantage because they have Urias on the mound. Urias, 19 career postseason starts. That's if you're not familiar with baseball, that's a lot.
And they got Mookie Betts.
That's a ton. They have Mookie Betts, Urias. He was on the team last year. He closed out for the World Series. But the Giants no slouch in Logan Webb, and you saw what he did last Friday, Terry.
Oh, man, he almost went the distance.
An amazing game. What do you think is going to come down to between the Dodgers and the Giants, T?
I think tonight, we're anticipating this game is going to be decided in the first 4 innings. This game could be a blowout because we're expecting this game that goes in the extra innings or at least to the 9th inning or something. Whoever is loosest at the beginning and can get into that bullpen quickest, they're going to win it. And one team will do it, one will not. Can't tell you who it's going to be, but we might see a 3 or 4 run game tonight.
Guess what? The Cardinals fired their manager just a little while ago. Mike Schilt is out. This is a team that won 17 games in a row to get into the thick of it at the end of the season, and they almost win the wild card game against the Dodgers.
Yep.
They probably should have won. They left so many men on base, but Mike Schilt fired in St. Louis. I'm shocked.
Coaches getting fired never ever shocks me anymore.
Meanwhile, Aaron Boone still has his job in New York. Maybe.
The players speak so highly of him. But sticking with
me.
I said players. I didn't say you, man. Sticking with baseball in the playoffs tomorrow, the Astros and the Red Sox. Man, is that going to be a game?
I cannot wait. I can't.
Astros holding on.
I actually can wait. This was like my least favorite matchup. I hate both these teams. Obviously, the Red Sox. I can't even say their name basically. But as far as Houston goes, everyone knows. No one was a fan of theirs except Houston. People that live in Houston. They cheated a couple of years ago, although they probably could have won had they not cheated. They are a great team. They come back. Dusty Baker takes over.
And they're a new team for the most part. They have a lot of new faces, and they're still right here.
They're still right there.
How can you not love Altuve and Dusty Baker, though?
I can't look at Altuve the same way anymore, Terry.
Tell him the story.
Do you remember him running around the bases like this, holding his shirt?
What was he doing?
Holding his shirt because he didn't want his teammates to rip his shirt off because he had all his little wires underneath so they could tell him, hey, fastball's coming from Aroldis Chapman. No, not this time. Here comes the changeup, and he takes it out for the game-winning home run to go to the World Series. He goes into the dugout. He changes into a T-shirt. Then he comes out, and, of course, he has a good time. So I can't look at that little son of a gun anymore with the same open eyes. I'm sorry. I just can't.
How could you? He claims he didn't know, but we know that's a lie. That's a lie.
He didn't know there was stuff under his shirt?
Right.
Love Altuve. We talked about him yesterday, Terry. He's a little man with a big heart. He hits better than most big men in the MLB. Yesterday he was 3 of 5 in that closeout game, and he's just been amazing.
Red Sox are red hot. They're going to be hard to beat.
I
hate to admit it.
In magic? I told you. The Boston Red Sox.
They're going to be hard to beat. But Houston gets the home field. They're at Minute Maid Park. Best of 7. Get started tomorrow.
Does that really matter in baseball, though? That home
I think
field?
It does.
Yeah, it does.
Maybe just a little bit.
I think it does.
Not as much.
What sport do you think it means the most in?
NBA. No question. NBA.
Football.
Not even football?
Football.
No, I think it's NBA.
Football.
Number 1, football second.
Lambeau Field
Football.
versus
Okay,
Madison
everybody
Square
doesn't
Garden.
play in Lambeau Field.
Okay, Madison Square Garden. Atlanta beat the Knicks in Madison Square Garden.
Why did you bring up Madison?
There you
Madison
go.
Square Garden first is a dump.
No, it's
Second,
not.
they got a dump of a team. Yes, it is.
Don't say that.
It is a dump.
It's the Mecca.
A dump.
Dude,
That's a
it kills me. People in New York always that little crappy stadium.
It's
the best stadium.
It's on the 7th floor.
It's a crappy dump.
Did you hear Matt
It's
goes,
a dump.
don't say that.
The only people
He was hurt. His feelings really, really hurt.
No.
Really hurt.
You're talking about where basketball was born. You're talking about that?
I don't care what was born. Rats were born in there too. Look, if you've been to New York,
Oh my God.
and if you've been to Madison Square Garden, and you're not from New York, it's a dump.
You're out of your mind.
All right, listen here, Ollie and Frazier. We're gonna have to.
Rod Beard will tell you.
Ollie and Frazier.
He'll agree with me.
No, he won't.
Ollie and Frazier, go to your corners.
By the way,
go
the
to your
Pistons
corners.
played at the Garden last night.
Rod Beard coming on with us next, Pistons beat writer. Talk about the Pistons. The Red Wings aren't the only team that's starting in a couple of days. The Wings start next Wednesday against the Chicago Bulls, who have a new team. Rod Beard will tell us more about the Detroit Pistons and Cade Cunningham. Stay tuned. Armani and Edwards, Woodward Sports Network, The Bottom Line.
Do you know why realtors love using Hall Financial as a lender? Because of our commitment to speed and service. We have nearly 4,000 five-star reviews already. Call today, 248-308-5000, or go to callhallfirst.com.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Papa Romano's has a pizza that is pleased to meet you. Introducing the Pizza Pizza. Pepperoni ham, Italian sausage, ground beef, bacon, and a blend of fresh cheeses. I get art every day on that one. Bacon and a blend of fresh cheeses. Right now, only $16.99 for a large pizza. Go to paparomanos.com and order one now. Opa.
There it is.
Coming on with us right now is Rod Beard, Detroit Pistons writer, and he is excited to talk about these Pistons, man. Cade Cunningham, number 1 pick overall, a leader, and more. Let's get it going.
We'll get him on in a second. Art's bringing him in from the
we're
Detroit
waiting for
News.
Rod to join us.
Bought him in a little too fast. Well, let's talk about these Pistons a little bit, T, before Rod gets on. They bring in Cade Cunningham, and they liked him in the summer league this year when he was playing. Looked like a leader, like a natural-born leader. He's a young guy, but the way in which he was orchestrating his players, whether they were veteran or not, I really, really like that. Let's talk a little bit about Cade Cunningham and this young Detroit Pistons team.
Well, it'd be nice to see Cade Cunningham actually play.
He played in the first 4 games from what I saw. that. You're right though.
But you know, we want to see. I want to see more from him. He does have leadership qualities. I'm not sure if he's hard enough to take this team to a different level right now. What I mean by hard enough, that mentality of, okay, yeah, I'm a leader, but y'all got to do certain things, and maybe he's too young for that. Maybe he's not hard enough for that. So I'm used to that Isaiah Thomas mentality, that Ben Wallace mentality, where they're going to tell their teammates off when it's necessary. They're going to direct them in the right direction. So I am wondering if he's got that mentality yet.
But to be fair, that NBA no longer exists. The Isaiah Thomas, the 80s, the Jordans, the Magics, the Bird, the way in which they could talk to their teammates and bring their teammates along. LeBron James didn't come out that way in 2003. LeBron James took a while to get there. He was very shy and very quiet originally. He played on the court. He was a monster on the court, but it took him a while to get to that leadership quality where he was cussing people out. When he was cussing Mario Chalmers out in Miami in 2013, it took him 10 years to get to that point. But I do get what you're saying about Cade Cunningham. He seems like a very nice individual, but he's not the only one that I'm excited to see on this team. I like Sadiq Bey, first team all-rookie last year in NBA, shoots the 3, plays defense. And I was reading a quote that he wrote, SB Nation, Sean Corp, and he said in the quote, I just want to be wherever they need me to play. I just want to be wherever they need me. Kind of reminding me of a Joe Dumars type player. Not necessarily as offensively skilled as Joe D coming out of McNeese State, but can shoot the ball, defense, and willing to play well. I like Sadiq Bey as well.
And that's very important because you can't have everybody trying to run the team. No. Then it just doesn't work. You have your foot soldiers. You have the guys that would do anything. You have your rats. And the rats are important too because they just muck it up. They do what they got to do.
Like
and
the ones at MSG, right?
Right.
Those are pets.
They're
like cats. They're like cats.
Yeah, they're cats. All right. Yeah, they'll bite you. Those are the rats that Maz doesn't want to admit to. But it's just you have to have different strokes on a team for it to work. And at some point, Cade Cunningham has to say, "This is my team." Now he's already said, "This is my city," which I appreciate.
He owned it.
But now he's got to say, "This is my team."
Speaking of strokes, Troy Weaver was doing a heck of a job. That's the GM of the Detroit Pistons. Has done a heck of a job bringing talent in, he's bringing talent in. He's making the draft picks. He's picking guys up. One of the guys that he picked up that I'm excited for is Frank Jackson. Frank Jackson was a 3-guard that got cut by the OKC last year. Or
15 points last night against the Knicks.
Exactly. OKC was cut by OKC. Troy Weaver, they bought him in, and he's been playing well, man. And the quote goes, Frank Jackson came here to shoot threes and chew bubblegum, and he's fresh out of bubblegum. Quote to an old Roddy Piper movie in the 80s. But let's talk about Frank Jackson and what it means. Every team that has success nowadays has three-point shooting. Like Terry, they have three-point shooters. They have guys that can shoot the blood. They got guys that can shoot from 28 feet, 27 feet, wherever it needs to be. Talk about how good it would be to have a guy like Frank Jackson that can shoot the blood out the ball whenever he's open.
Well, once again, we talk about a new league. That's essential. And I like Frank Jackson because he got a little bit of street in him, too. I saw him play when he was in high school, and I was surprised that a team would cut him because I thought he was destined for the NBA. But you know what? Sometimes you need a new environment. And so he's kind of come home. He's got a new mentality. He's, I think, this goes to coaching because they're telling, okay, Frank, yeah, you're going to shoot threes, and that's what you're known for. But you better play some defense. You better hustle, and you better get back on, on defense and try to stop the transitional offense of the other team. So I think Frank Jackson and others have bought into the Pistons mentality of, the blue collar and all that hokey stuff. So yeah, he does more than shoot threes. If he didn't do the other things, he wouldn't have the opportunity to shoot the threes or chew the bubble gum.
Yeah, that's another thing I'm excited about to watch the Detroit Pistons team this year is they're young, but they're buying in. They're all buying in. They're all friends. They all hang together. They all buy into the defense. They all buy into whatever they need. Cade Cunningham is a young guy, and he's going to have to learn how to lead. I saw some stretches and examples early on in his 4 games that he played in some leagues, so I'm excited about that. But I think this is a young team that has talent. I saw Jeremy Grant last year, really good. Jeremy Grant was on the All-Star pace at one point. You look at Kelly Olynyk.
Made the Olympic team.
He did make the Olympic team, so he has a gold medal to go along with that. You look at Kelly Olynyk. Kelly Olynyk had success.
He's a banger.
With Miami, he had success with the Celtics. He's one of the older guys there, so I'm really just excited. You look at Cunningham, Jared Cunningham, Cade Cunningham. So, but, Rob Beard knows a little bit more about the Detroit Pistons than we do. So right now, let's bring in Rob Beard.
Detroit News.
Rod, how's it going, man?
What's
Detroit
up, Rod?
News on. How you doing?
Doing good. How are you guys? Thanks for having me on.
Hey, Rod, I got a big question before these guys take over. Madison Square Garden, dump or great arena?
You have to appreciate it. I mean, if you like an old classic car, then you like an old classic car. Some people are just new car people.
Okay, so Rod is saying it's a dump, but he's being nice. He's a nice guy.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Anyway,
no, it's definitely a dump, but it's people like it so much. It's that 6'9" deuce and a quarter that you drive around the neighborhood, and if you keep it up, you keep it up.
Deuce and a quarter, diamond in the back. There we go, Rod.
That's fine, Rod. If that's the way you want to leave it, that's fine.
Rod, I just want to jump on and talk to him. We'll get to Cade Cunningham in a second, but I want to talk to Frank Jackson. I want to talk about the acquisition of Frank Jackson and picking him up. Man, he's a guy that I had a chance to watch, and I really like. I was just telling Terry, I don't know if you can hear us, he can shoot the blood out the ball, plus he stretches defense off that screen. Talk to me a little bit about, Frank Jackson, that pickup.
Yeah, Frank was a two-way guy that they had last year. And, I mean, on a minimum contract, when you get a guy who can give you maximum performance like that and just doesn't need the ball a lot, but when he gets it, he's very effective with it and efficient with it. Those are the guys that you treasure because you don't have to put a lot into it. They don't subtract from the team. they do the things they need to do, and they're quiet about what they do, and they go about their business. And that's what Frank is he's a low-maintenance guy. You don't have to do a lot of stuff to keep him happy. He just wants the ball and wants to help the team, and that's the type of culture they're trying to create around this team is get more guys like Frank.
Not you, of course, Rod, but I think other people in this town are making a mistake when they look at Killian Hayes and Cade Cunningham. And they say, well, you don't need 2 ball handlers on the team. I think the NBA's changed. You not only need 2, you could use 3 sometimes and everything. And I think maybe people are falling asleep on Killian Hayes, and they want to get rid of him. But it isn't the fact, how essential to this team do you think he's going to be? And do the Pistons think differently that, you do need more than 1 ball handler?
No, they absolutely think you need more than 1, and that's why they drafted him when they had a couple of guards last year, because you can attack from different sides of the floor, and it's not like you have to get the ball to a certain guy to be effective and to start your offense. And that's been one of the sort of narratives that's kind of false that's going around, is that they're both point guards. Cade can be whatever you want him to be. If you need him to be a small forward, he can be that. If he needs to be a shooting guard, he can be that. He adapts to whatever you need. He just kind of played point guard at Oklahoma State because that's what they needed him to do. So he can step over, and we saw that in Summer League. He didn't handle the ball a lot, and he was still very, very effective. It just adds to the notion that when you do need him to handle and be a point guard, he's going to do that just as well, and we know that. That's proven already. So he and Killian can coexist, and if Killian doesn't have a great scoring day, he's still a 6'5" guy, 6'6" guy who can play good defense for you. And those don't just fall off trees. You got to have guys like that who can do different things off the ball without the ball in their hands.
Rod Beard joins us, Detroit News Pistons beat. You can follow him at Det News Rod. Let me make sure that's correct. Yep, Det News Rod Beard. That's his Twitter handle. One of the best in the biz, and we'll always love when he comes on. Let's go, Cade. Let's go on the Cade train here. He's been out the whole preseason. Obviously, hurt his ankle. Obviously, it's a lot worse than we thought it was going to be. Is this just Detroit luck, man? I mean, here it is. He's the golden goose, drafted number 1. We got the number 1 pick, and this happens to him.
Yeah, I think this is still a little overblown, and I don't have any inside knowledge on this at all. I think they're just being very, very careful. And I asked Dwayne Casey about it today. I said, hey, is it worth rushing a guy back if he's not at 100%? Even if he's at 85 or 90%, is it worth it? And they said, no, that's why we're being careful with him. Is if he's not 100% right, then you don't put him out on the court and risk him being gone for 2 weeks or 3 weeks in the regular season. That's the good part about this. Yes, he's missing time in a valuable part of his development where you want him to be taking preseason reps, you want him to be learning the game and what contact feels like and the speed of the NBA game, but you don't want it to be in the regular season that he's missing this time, and you run that risk if you try to get him back too soon. And anybody who's had a sprained ankle can tell you it's not, you don't necessarily feel right 2 days later or 3 days later. It might take a week or 2 before you feel like, yeah, okay, I'm good. I can run at full strength again, and I can do all the same stuff I was doing before I hurt it.
Hey, Rod, just going on that, it's one of the worst injuries you could have as a basketball player is a sprained ankle, a high ankle sprain as well. This thing could be, if you don't watch it, it could become like a chronic injury.
Right, and I think that's what they're trying to avoid, and it's just like a hamstring. If you get a hamstring, that thing can last we've seen it last for a full football season where guys tried to come back too early. And what they've said is that he's just too valuable to try to mess around with that. And we've seen it with Reggie Jackson the past few years and Blake Griffin, where there were injuries and people wanted to rush them back, and when they came back, they weren't as effective as they should have been, and those injuries lingered. I don't know if that plays into what they're doing now, but you've got to take that as experience and say, hey, we're not going to rush this guy back, especially at the start of the season. If this was in the middle of the season, you could see a little bit more angst about it, but this is the start of the season of his rookie year. You don't want this to be something that gets worse than what it needs to be.
Hey, Ryan, we got to go to break real quick, only 30 seconds. Can we keep you through the break? Is that okay?
Absolutely. Let's go.
All right, I really appreciate that.
So accommodating.
Man, very accommodating. Stay tuned. Armani Networks, Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
All right, listen, when it comes to security, you want to make sure that you're protected all around, right? You don't want to, like, go into a house and, oh, hey, this is my house. Oh, wait, I didn't realize it because it got broken into. Nobody wants that. So check out Guardian Alarm. A good defense on and off the field helps you feel secure, and that's where Guardian Alarm comes into play. All right, all that you got to do is check them out by calling 1-800
Stay out.
So you got to have a good group of team with you. And the good group of team is Guardian Alarm. Good. All right, so listen, if you want, you want to control your lights, you want to control your temperature, detect the smoke, the carbon monoxide, lock or unlock your doors. The number again, 1-800
Stay out.
That's 1-800
Stay out.
Guardian Alarm, a trusted source for over 90 years.
Right, back on Woodward Sports Network, The Bottom Line. We're here with Rod Beard, and he's killing it talking about the Detroit Pistons. We were talking about Cade Cunningham, talking about the ankle injury, but I want to slide to another player. I want to talk about Saddiq Bey, but not only Saddiq Bey was the first team All-Rookie last season. What I want to talk about is his willingness to play defense or wherever he wants to be. I read an article, and forgive me, it eludes me who wrote the article. But
Probably Rod.
Probably Rod, to be honest. And he was just talking about wanting to play anywhere they needed him, wanting to be wherever they needed him, play defense, handle the ball, shoot the ball. How important is it to have guys of that stature, this young, have that mindset on a team like this?
I think that's what their entire culture is built on, is not having these selfish guys who are kind of out for themselves, and they've been through that, the iterations of that in the past decade or so, where they had guys who were worried about their numbers or worried about a lot of other things. These young guys are really worried about the team concept, and they don't know any better. I mean, Saddiq Bey was a first-round pick, but he wasn't a top 5 pick. He's just out here to do the work and not get the accolades for it. When you try to talk to him about being All-Rookie, it's sort of, he pushes that to the side, and it's, hey, I still got a lot more learning I got to do. I got to grow in this game. Just the humility that you see from this entire roster is refreshing to see, because obviously there's been so much different stuff that we've seen over the past number of years.
Talking to Pistons beat writer Rod Beard, the Detroit News. I'm going to ask you a question now, and this is a typical question everyone will ask at the beginning of the season. I know it's general, I know it's tough, but you got to ask that question. What does success look like this year for Dwayne Casey and the Detroit Pistons?
Right now, it looks like people having healthy ankles through the first 2 weeks of the season.
Touche.
But I think it's very much just taking a step forward. If you may not see it in the win total, where they jump from the 20 wins last year and they go to 32 or 33. It may not be there, but you can see some cohesiveness where you saw Saddiq Bey and Isaiah Stewart come out of their shells and be these players where you can say, oh, okay, I see where this is going. They have an identity, and I can see where they fit into a rebuild. You want to have that same thing with Cade Cunningham. You want to have a longer look at Killian Hayes and start to see, okay, well, is Jeremy Grant going to be an all-star type guy? You want to see these moderate progressions that guys are taking and this whole team concept go together a little bit better. And again, if it's not a 33-win season, that you see they're playing well and they're just falling short, or they're just missing a shot here or there. They're not getting blown out by 30 points, but they're putting stuff together where it looks like a more finished product.
You know, Rod, good teams, and we don't know if they're a good team or not, they develop an identity. Do the Pistons have an identity? And if they do, how would you describe it? Or is that something they're still trying to develop?
I think they're still trying to develop it, and it could be something like the going-to-work Pistons, that they're just going to be humble guys who come and punch the clock and then do their work and don't draw a lot of attention for it. It could be something similar to that, but I think it's just young guys who work hard, who are scrappy. They're not going to give up. They're not going to get run over. I think that's what they're trying to develop, is that type of and Troy Weaver's used that retooling and restoring sort of thing. He wants to restore the old school bad boys. Some mix between bad boys and going to work, I think, is what they're shooting for.
Rod Beard joins us, Detroit News Pistons beat. Rod, I got one for you from our YouTube handle. It's Lonnie Hooper, and I think he speaks for a lot of people here, and I know everyone's all nervous. Are the Pistons looking to trade Jeremy Grant for Ben Simmons? That's the rumor out there, right?
Yeah, I'll go with the wording. Are they looking to? No. But if that's the deal that comes up and it makes sense for them, then I think they would consider it. I don't believe much in this Ben Simmons stuff because the wording of it is they've shown interest. Well, shown interest. I showed interest in Halle Berry by saying hi to her. What exactly is showing interest? And Stan Van Gundy used to say, if you pick up the phone and say, hey, I'll give you our number 15 player, our bench player for LeBron James, you've had a trade discussion, you've shown some interest, but it doesn't mean you've had serious talks or anything that amounts to anything. So, I mean, you have to do your diligence and say, hey, what's the trade package looking like that you would want for a Ben Simmons? If you're the Pistons, you have to do that. But how far have those talks progressed? Is it Halle Berry giving me her number? Are they at that stage? Or is it just, hey, well, no thanks. We're still the same thing. We want 9 first-round picks and 2 potential all-star type players. Well, no, they're not going to do anything like that. They're more committed to the rebuild than trying to bring in Ben Simmons.
Okay, Ben Simmons is not Halle Berry, though.
But he's a kid. he's still a young man. He's still a young man.
He's a young man with no confidence, right? What would be the point of bringing Ben Simmons to the Pistons?
He has confidence. He just doesn't have confidence in his jump shot. He has confidence, though. He does a lot of things well.
That's a big part of basketball.
Change the scenery.
No, and I think Terry's right. Is he's not Dame Lillard. If Dame Lillard is an option, you give up the farm for him if you feel like you can build around him. Ben Simmons doesn't bring that same thing. He doesn't score. He's not a prolific passer. He's a very good defender, and he's tall. But you can find that in other places, and you don't tear down your rebuild in order to build around Ben Simmons. He hasn't shown himself to be that type of guy that is that type of leader. And if Philly doesn't like him and Philly's trying to get rid of him and he's at odds there, maybe it's not just them. Maybe it's him. Maybe he's the issue.
Hey, before I get into Kyrie Irving, and I want to ask you about him, I want to ask you first about the Luka Garza effect here in Detroit. I think everybody here, I know at Woodward Sports, is loving on this guy. Is he going to be the guy they're going to be calling on to get in the game? What's your take on Luka so far? I know his dad loves him. Frank Garza.
It's too late. They've already done it. In the first preseason home game, they were calling for Luka in the first quarter, second quarter, and he was getting MVP chance in a preseason game. Wow. I mean, that's where this has gone so far. But I think they can relate to him that he's it kind of reminds you of Bill Laimbeer in a lot of ways, a perimeter shooting big who isn't super athletic, but he just tries hard, and you can see that kind of love for the game that he's out there and he's playing and he gives you everything, and he's happy when he makes a shot. But he's just a different dude. I think that love affair is going to be there, but he's not some sideshow pony. He's actually a pretty good player, and if he makes the team, and he will make the team because he's on a guaranteed contract, but if he gets a lot of minutes, then you don't look for him to be like some sideshow. He's going to be a guy who can get out there and actually play, and I think people are shortchanging him when they try to make him like a Darko or something like that, where he's the side or a Taco Fall, where he can't actually play, but he can. He's a pretty good player. He's got some good skill. It's just going to take some time to develop.
Well, then the Pistons should put him in the game, because if they don't put him in the game, they're going to call for him. That doesn't mean he's a sideshow. It means maybe the coaches
don't know as much as the fans.
Yeah, right. Don't know as much as the fans.
No, well, Terry, it's not ancient Rome. You can't have like the gladiators. You can't have the fans calling for people, and that's who you put in the game. That's too much power.
Sure you can.
Throw them to the wolves.
Exactly.
How about Luke? How about last night, man? Kyrie Irving does it finally. He finally speaks. He does it on his Instagram Live. I was watching. It was over 100,000 people at one point watching Kyrie give his take on what's happening in his life. I have two sides to him. When he speaks, I love the guy because he sounds just like a lover. He sounds he belongs in the 70s. Like peace, man. Like he's like a hippie almost. Like he loves everybody. He doesn't care what you think about him. It's just peace, love, man. Peace and love, just like Ringo Starr. But then I think on the other end, he's screwing the Nets. I don't know. What's your take on him?
I think he's trying to make a point, and it's if you ignore the science and everything else, and not getting into a big COVID conversation, but if you're ignoring the science and you're saying you're just doing this just because you want to be the face and the voice of the people who are disenfranchised by it, that's one whole thing. But at the same time, you have a team who's trying to win a championship, and you're impeding that progress. And you can't be a part-time player. Either you're going to play all of the games or you're going to play none of the games. And that's the stance that the Nets are taking with this is we can't have you coming around like a part-time dad and you show up and bring Christmas presents when you play in the road games, and then when we play home games, you go away for another couple of weeks or so. It can't be like that. And so they drew a line in the sand, and he's got to abide by that. He's got his right to do whatever he wants and make his decisions about what he wants to do. But just like anything else, there are consequences that go along with that. Like beat writers have to be vaccinated to go on the road and to deal and be close to NBA players and coaches and to do the stuff that we do. I can't do my job effectively if I'm not vaccinated, and he's sort of the same way. He has a job. Yes, it's basketball, but he still has a job.
The total speculation, Rod, do you think the Nets went to Kevin Durant and James Harden?
Did they go to them?
Yeah, to ask about Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, I think so. I think whenever you put a team together like that, you have to kind of take all of the pieces and all of the opinions that go into it. You can't just do it on an island. So I think they went through all of that and kind of figured out what they were trying to do and what worked for them also, what was best for the team.
That's Rod Beard right there, beat writer for the Detroit News. We really appreciate it. We can't wait to talk to you more in the season. Figure out what the Pistons are doing. Next Wednesday, the Pistons open up against the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls relive a rivalry from back in the day. So, Rod, thank you for coming. Thank you for talking to us on Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line, buddy.
Thanks a lot. Rod.
Anytime. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on.
All right, man. I want to get Terry's take on Kyrie. I know we got to take a quick break, but
let's just take a quick one and come right back.
I want to ask him.
Reminding networks, Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand.
Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
a graduate of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Hey everybody, it's Maz for Legacy Partners Insurance. I can guarantee you this, your insurance stinks. Give Legacy Partners Insurance a try. They're an independent agent and they know what they're talking about. They go to the carriers. They make the carriers fight for your business. So if you need personal insurance, that means home or auto. They're going to go to 7 to 10 different carriers. They're going to say, hey, give us the best deal and the best coverage. If you got business insurance, they go to 50 for your commercial accounts. They've been doing it for over 100 years. So give them a call, 586-209-4106, or go online to legacypartnersins.com/Woodward Sports and fill out the information. It'll take you a minute. Someone from Team Maz will get in touch with you. They'll run your insurance numbers, and they will tell you if they could beat your insurance, and they will, or if they can't. And it doesn't matter because it doesn't cost you anything. And if you give them a try, we will put you in a drawing for a once-a-month try to get a gift certificate to Amazon, a gift card, $50 Amazon gift card for just giving Legacy Partners a try. So give them a try. Legacy Partners Insurance. Tell them Maz sent you from Woodward Sports.
27 minutes into the second hour, and we were just talking about Kyrie Irving. Nobody had heard from Kyrie Irving. We only made assumptions based on what was going on out there in Brooklyn. He finally broke his silence last evening.
Did you get to watch it live or no?
I didn't watch it live. I saw it today. I saw the whole of it, and I got a chance to kind of decipher and see where I went with it. You know,
I tagged you and Ryan in it, but I figured you guys were probably tuned out for the night. Easy tipped me off. He was like, hey, Kyrie's talking on Instagram. So I went on Instagram and checked it out, and there's some of the stuff he said.
Yeah, this is Sham Sharania via the Glue Guys podcast. He was willing to sacrifice at the end of the day $16 million in salary this upcoming year and $186 million as far as an extension that he will not be offered now.
He's not going to give an offer. They're not going to give him an extension, Terry. The Nets will not. And he wants that money until he gets vaccinated. My take is, well, I'm going to wait. I want to ask you first.
Okay, I got 2 words for Kyrie Irving. Dumbass. Just simple as that. You don't want to take a vaccination because he really hasn't given a reason. It's personal choice and all that crap. He is screwing his teammates, screwing his family, screwing his fans, and all he has to do is take a vaccination. Now, does he have the right to do that? He absolutely does. But you also must deal with the consequences. I think it's dumb to give up $16 million or $186 million.
I think we might have the video for that so you can see exactly what Kyrie was saying, not to cut you off, Terry, but yeah, this is the exact video of what Kyrie was saying so that we can make an honest assessment afterwards. Put that up.
Never mind. Artist waving his hand.
Never mind. My apologies.
Continue, Terry.
My apologies, Terry.
All right, dumbass. I'll stick to it.
Here's my take. I want to give it to you. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
He brought James Harden in. He brought Kevin Durant in. They got paid. Okay. He wants to get paid. And Braylon has got inside info that he thinks Kyrie's doing all of this to get paid.
It's a leverage pull. This is one.
Will it work?
I think so. I think he has them held hostage, with the finger on the trigger. I think the bigger thing is, and let's take that off the table for a second. Let's address this like we were assuming that he was, the voice of the voiceless, and exactly what he said on his lives. I think at one point he thought that he could play basketball without being vaccinated. There are other players that are not vaccinated. There are football players that aren't vaccinated that have played 6 games now. So I think he didn't think that he had to be vaccinated and didn't have to take a stance. Well, then all of a sudden, New York makes a mandation. The municipalities, as well as California, as well as all of Canada. So now all of a sudden, in the midst, out of nowhere, he's forced into you have to be vaxxed. And I think he didn't like the fact that they were stripping away his freedom. Kyrie Irving is a lot of things. Yeah, he's a distraction at times. He's a hard teammate to get along with at times. But by no way, fashion, or form is he a bad person.
No, he's not.
He's a humanitarian.
For sure
he cares about people. He cares about causes. He supports a lot of different causes. He bought George Floyd's mom's a house. And we listed a ton of stuff yesterday so you get the idea of what type of character that this individual has. With that being said, I think the only thing that bothers a lot of people is you're holding up the season. Like, I get it that it just happened. Either you're going to get vaccinated and play with your team, the guys that got paid, the guys that you bought here, or you're not. And another thing that I thought about, a really good way that you can help people that lose their jobs because they're not vaccinated, or the causes that you give to, a really good way to help them is to go get that $33 million and donate as much of it as you want.
That'd be nice.
Like, donate it as much of it as you want. Go get the championship. Like, if you don't want, and I'm not saying you have to get vaccinated. If you don't want to play, then don't play, then retire. But at least the saga is over, and then you can go be a voice, and then you can go be a humanitarian, and then you can go do all those things. But if you're gonna play, then don't hold up the process. Then get the vaccine so you can play. And then with the $33 million that you stand and make this year, Terry, then you can go help those that are less fortunate. You can go help those who lost their jobs because of that vaccine. You can do all of that, but you got to pick one. You can't just keep stalling. They don't deserve to talk about you every day. Not vaccinated, not vaccinated. Playing, not playing. 5 days to the season. It's go time.
I think Kyrie Irving is pulling smoke on all of us. He's not interested in having a voice for the voiceless. He's not interested in helping all these people who are unvaccinated with their jobs and everything. Sometimes people do things because it's good PR. It makes them sound good. I don't think Kyrie Irving is a particularly good guy. Yeah, he does some good things now and then, but I don't think he's what we would call a guy that's warm and fuzzy and that you really want to know and embrace and be boys with. And I just think all this stuff is a smoke screen. I think, go back, dumbass.
Do you think he's holding out? Look, this is what he could do. There's 82 games in the NBA season. We all know it's a long season. And we all know the Brooklyn Nets, they're like a broken down jalopy. They just want to get to the finish line and start in the playoffs. And you know what? Does he come back midseason? Maybe things calm down in New York. Maybe they take the Mandate out. Do you see that,
There
Terry?
you go.
Do you see that?
Or I see him taking the poke at some point.
You do?
At some point, he's going to take the poke.
Yeah, I mean, basketball is one of those sports, and baseball would be another one of those sports. I guess hockey, too. I guess sports in general, with the exception of football, where you can take your sweet time. Like, the Brooklyn Nets are a good ball club.
Yeah.
The Brooklyn Nets will be a very good ball club with or without Kyrie. Now, will they be championships? No, they wouldn't be a champion team without him. But he has plenty enough time to decide if he wants to get the poke. If he's going to go ahead and go get the vaccination and then come in later in the season, it can be January, it can be December, and they'll still be fine. That's the one thing that basketball allows for players. And players and coaches and GMs, they always tend to give Kyrie what he wants. You look at when he first came back last year, and then he took some time off after missing 10 months. He took some time off for himself. So these are things that he does.
We do have some of Kyrie's what he said on the Instagram Live. I do apologize. It was recorded with a potato. The video quality is not the best, but there is audio. So here we go.
I'm always going to stay true to me, and that's me. You know, this is my life. I get to do whatever I want with this. This is one body that I get here, one God body that I get here. And you telling me what to do with my body, and it has nothing to do with the organization. I'm going to put that out there. It has nothing to do with the Nets. It has nothing to do with my teammates. This has everything to do with what's going on in our world, and I'm being grouped in to something that's bigger than just a game of basketball. And, you know, you got that fandom, you know, which is like a religion to people out here. Basketball is like a religion. Entertainment is like a religion to people. They like get so caught up emotionally. It's just like, yo, effing get vaccinated or just leave. You know, we angry at what you're doing, man. And it's just like, nah, that's like, what are you talking about? I'm a human being. I have emotions. I have feelings. I have thoughts, things that I keep to myself, things that I share. But I'm staying grounded in what I believe in. It's just as simple as that. It's not about being anti-vax or about being, you know, on one side or the other. Like,
yeah, and you heard it from the man himself. He said he has one body, he has one life. This is his body. This is his choice.
So how could you be mad at him?
I'm mad.
I'm not mad. I'll throw in another word: selfish. This is a selfish dude. He kept saying, I. I'm not anti-vax. Yes, you are. Just admit to us you're anti-vax, and you're talking about this is my body, my choice, and everything. But you know what? Guess what you can do when you're unvaxxed? You can give it to teammates. You can make them sick. Secondly,
you give it to teammates as well.
In team sports, a lot of, you know, I talk to the athletes, and maybe they're pulling my leg. You know, why did you guys come together so much with chemistry? We go bowling every Tuesday night, or we do this and everything.
I'm bowling tonight, by the way.
It's team bonding, and that's what helped us get closer, and we became better as a team. Braylon, is that true? Or is that BS that they're feeding?
No, that's very true. We can get back to this. It seems like this topic is gaining legs. Let's get back to this, but we got to take a break real quick. We got to take a break real quick. Armani and Edwards, the bottom line, Woodward Sports.
Do you know why realtors love using Hall Financial as a lender? Because of our commitment to speed and service. We have nearly 4,000 five-star reviews already. Call today, 248-308-5000, or go to callhallfirst.com.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Hey everybody, it's Maz. My fantasy teams stink. All 5 of them, they do. But guess what? I'm hooked now on Underdog Fantasy. My money is on the line. I'm picking a team tonight on Thursday Night Football. You could do the same thing. You could pick hockey. Basketball's coming up. And, of course, NFL on Sunday. You can't beat that. Dodgers and Giants, you could do something on that tonight. Pick your fantasy squad as well. Compete on Underdog Fantasy through their slick mobile app, user-friendly site. Join a league and draft a team in minutes. Plus, the folks here at Underdog are going to help you start. You put $10 in, they're going to match your $10 deposit with $10 right there. Use the promo code WSN. Just visit UnderdogFantasy.com, the App Store, or the Google Play Store. Sign up with the code WSN. Put $10 in, they match it with $10 of their own. Do it what you want with it tonight. Thursday Night Football coming up. We're going to talk about it. Promo code WSN on UnderdogFantasy.com.
Back in the studio with Art, Fish, Maz, and Terry chilling over there on the couch. Terry,
how's that seat?
I know. How is that seat?
Very comfortable over here.
It looks comfortable. I'm
I
very,
like
I'm very
the
jealous.
Maz pillow over here.
I'm missing it right now.
Dude,
my back
if
is
I had hemorrhoids, I wouldn't feel them, man, because this nice pillow under here.
Cushiony.
This is great.
I'm dying up here.
If you guys are just tuning in.
But fellas, let me just say this. We're letting another selfish dumbass off the hook by talking about Kyrie Irving.
Who's that?
Tyler Bertuzzi.
Oh.
He also...
There's only 4 guys in the NHL that are not vaxxed.
Right, and he's one of them. He can't play in Canada. I'm not sure. I don't think he can play in San Jose.
Yeah, California. And New York.
In New York.
Yeah.
So he's going to miss at least $400,000. Once again, what does he say about, oh, these are my brothers and everything, but he's not there with them for like 10, 15% of the season.
Yeah.
Someone at the wings should just say, hey, see ya.
Yeah, we're talking
He's too
about
good a player that's the dump.
if you guys are just tuning in.
If they're going to lose anyway.
If you guys are just tuning in,
stop
we're
it.
talking about Kyrie Irving and what happened last night on his Instagram Live. He went to Instagram Live to address Stephen A. Smith and other critics about his vaccination stance. Says he's not anti-vax, said he's not pro-vax. He's just more so anti people forcing and mandating his decisions in life.
Yeah, here's my question. If you're someone like Tom Brady, let's turn it a little bit. Like they were in the playoffs. They were a dominant team. If you're someone like Tom Brady, though, and you decide, hey, I'm not getting vaxxed, I feel as though that's a big difference. You know, I feel as though then it's a different narrative and a different story.
Wouldn't be as mad at him.
Yeah. And that's where I guess I wanted to ask the panel and ask you guys, where does it end in the sense of, can you be above everything to say, hey, I'm not getting vaxxed and get away with it?
Yeah, that would definitely be a different one time. I think another issue with Kyrie is people don't know how to separate the things that have happened with Kyrie from this instance right here. You look at Kyrie and you think about LeBron James, the issue that he had with LeBron and why he had to leave the Cavs, which was because of him. You look at the Celtics, he and Danny Ainge got into it, as well as some of the players. They think it was on him, and you look at him now with the Brooklyn Nets. So it's like everywhere he goes, something follows him. So when you have this situation, this isolated incident, and it's dealing with his body and what he chooses to do, I think people are stacking everything on top of that with the things that he's done in the past. The way that I look at it is this. Everyone is entitled to do what they would like to do. Whatever they would choose to do, you have that right, and I am for that. I just think if the NBA has made it a mandate in certain states that you have to be vaccinated, and you understand that, then if what you want to do is to win a championship, is what you want to do is to do what you talked about, is winning the NBA championship. If that is your goal, then that's what you have to do. There are no ifs, ands, and buts about it. There's no way to get around it. There are a lot of players that had to do their own due diligence. You look at LeBron, didn't want to get the vaccination.
He got it late.
But he and Savannah, his wife, Miss James, they went and got the vaccination after they did their own research. They went and asked the right doctors, the right people, what should we do? What are the ramifications if we don't? Like, what are the causes? What are the chances? What are the odds? And that's what they came up with. So my only advice to Kyrie would be to go to, the real doctors, go to the real the medical
Brother,
centers.
don't you think he's already done that?
No,
don't you think his teammates have already talked to him?
I understand that, but I'm more so acting from a stance as if he hasn't. Like, I'm
They
more
get
so
the best
if he
care.
has.
You athletes get the best care. We all know that. If
I
you have a
understand
broken bone, you're going to get checked out. You're going to get operated on right away. If you have a disease or you're infected, guess what? You're going to get the treatment right away. We have to wait it out. Us regular people got to wait it out. So he has heard probably.
Right. Good health care is good health care.
He probably heard from Dr. Fauci himself. Your wife, Mrs. Foster.
By the way, I want to introduce my wife, Dr. Fauci, has a very good conspiracy theory. I want to roll it by you.
Let's go.
Dr. Fauci said it's
Your
awfully,
Dr. Fauci.
My Dr. Fauci, my wife, said it's awfully funny that the Nets suspended Kyrie Irving for the rest of the season after LeBron James said, yeah, I took the vaccination.
He's the boss.
She's saying
he's the boss.
They don't want to suspend LeBron. They refuse to suspend LeBron. Now they're jumping bad on everybody after LeBron said, yep, I took the poke.
I'm good.
Fellas, is that a good conspiracy theory by my Dr. Fauci?
To a certain extent, it would be if they hadn't made it a mandate, or the municipalities hadn't made it a mandate in California.
But he
and
still
New
could have
York.
played part-time.
Brother, but they didn't suspend him until
Kyrie?
Yeah, Kyrie could have still played part-time if the Nets let him.
Right.
But what he's saying is once LeBron was
They
in the clear,
suspended him.
then the Nets and the NBA is like, okay, sit his behind out.
Right.
But I don't know, like, but with it's tough because I'm kind of questioning in my head, just thinking about if they suspend him, he can't. But see, he can't practice with them.
No, he can't do anything.
But that's the thing. So if you can't practice with a team, then how are you going to play with a team? He's going to show up to games. So I think the suspension is more so they don't have to deal with the headache of figuring it out. Is he going to play on the road even though he hasn't practiced? Are they going to go to New Jersey to have practices
Well,
so
do
that
you
he can
remember
practice?
the Nets made it? They said, okay, you could practice with us. They said that,
Yeah.
and then a day later they said, no, we changed our mind.
Right.
It's all done.
But it's illegal. Isn't it almost illegal in New York to
I think
do so?
they got like a stipulation or something.
He could have practiced with them.
He could have. They could have went to the next block in Brooklyn if they wanted to. In other words, they knew what they had to do.
I think they went to Durant and James Harden. What do you guys think? They say he's either with us or he's not.
Yeah, you know, and at the end of the day, that's what players have to do to take a stance and to show a stance to say, hey, look, we're a team. You're not here right now. What you have going on is what you have going on, but it's not a part of this team. I'll give you an example. 2010, Darrelle Reeves was holding out. Darrelle Reeves was holding out, and he wouldn't come to training camp. He hadn't been to training camp, wouldn't come to training camp, was trying to get the big deal, which he eventually got. But Rex Ryan at one point said, hey, look, I'm going to take one of our charters. We're going to fly the team down to Florida where Reeves was staying at in Tampa. We're going to take the whole team down there and show up at Reeves' doorstep.
Reeves Island.
And he was really on Reeves Island then. So we're going to show up to Reeves' doorstep, the whole team. And they're going to say, hey, you ready to play with the team? And the team, we were like, hell no.
That's cool.
No, hell no. We're not going down there. No, that's not cool, because you mean to tell me one man can make a whole team jump on the jet and come down there to play for them? And so we didn't. And they ended up getting the deal signed and he came in. But this is the same thing. They're like, we're not letting him dictate what all of the Brooklyn Nets do, where we practice, what we do, how we go about it. So, more power too.
I will say this, though. Let's not judge the guy.
I'm not judging him
at
all.
Let's not, Terry.
I didn't call him a dumbass.
Take back your dumbass thing.
No, I'm not.
Take it back.
I'm doubling down.
What?
Dumbass.
That's his decision, man.
Yeah, it's his decision, but it's affecting other people. He's giving up millions of dollars. Kevin Durant wants to win another little championship. James Harden, with his broke ass, wants to win a championship. He's not going to because of Kyrie Irving.
Don't forget Blake Griffin.
Blake Griffin.
Well,
dumbass and selfish. I tell you what, you want me to take dumbass off? How about the word selfish? Can I keep that word?
You said that.
Selfish.
If you want to say that.
Okay.
Yeah,
if you want to say that.
Still a dumbass.
Is he invited to your house, by the way? Would Dr. Fauci let him in
No,
the Foster Estate?
No, Dr. Fauci, so you better get out of here.
All right. Well, I wish the Nets the best. You know, I want to see them win. They haven't won since they entered the NBA in 1976. They got close a couple of times with Jason Kidd, and then last year, Giannis took them out in Game 7.
They're screwing you.
I know they are.
They're screwing you from going back to Brooklyn for Game 7 of the NBA Finals or something.
I've been screwed since 76 when Dr. J was sold for $1 million on the eve of the Nets joining the NBA. $1 million for Julius Irving. It hasn't been the same since.
Side note before we go to a break and we get to the bottom line videos of the day, this is a completely different sport. Terry, if you were starting a franchise for the next 10 years, which quarterback would you choose? Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray?
I have switched. I'm going to go with Josh Allen.
Why would you choose Josh Allen? Quick.
I think he has moxie.
Yeah.
I think he can pass. He's a better passer than I thought he was. And also, he's a little bit mobile. He's mobile, too.
Yeah.
So's
Kyler Murray.
Yeah, but can he pass like Josh Allen?
He's little. Josh Allen's big. Hold on. Kyler's little.
That's Terry. Now, here you got the same question. Now you.
I go off the board. You know, I'm taking Lamar Jackson.
You got to go on this board. I thought you were going Eli. This is on the board.
I got to stay on the board?
You got to stay on this board.
Son of a
You got to stay on this board.
All right, I'm taking Justin Herbert then.
Taking Justin Herbert.
I loved him 2 years ago. I wanted them.
Maz.
I wanted us to take
Big
him.
Maz. You mentioned Lamar.
Yeah.
Do you trust him in the playoffs?
I do. He's 0 for 2.
Okay.
0 for 2. Let's see what he does this year. I said the Ravens are going to make the playoffs, so we all talked in the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And I remember Ryan said, I don't think the Ravens are going to make it after the first couple of games. I'm like, give it a chance. They're coming together. They don't have a running game. Yeah. They're slapping it together. But what he did last week to the Colts, man, that's Superman. He gets Superman
That was illegal,
status.
man. That was illegal.
He's unbelievable.
I'm taking Kyler Murray.
I know you are.
And with that being said, we got to go to a commercial break real quick though, and then next we'll come back with Maz's bottom line videos of the day.
Oh, wait till you see these.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. Armani and Edwards, Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand.
Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10 and a half months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
a graduate of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
All right, well, listen, Lions pregame, it's happening. If you are ready to be disappointed and at least enjoy some food and beverages while doing it, well, watch the Lions this Sunday. That's right. You could go to the Lions postgame and...
the pregame first, all right.
Well, yeah, the
pregame. You gotta get through the game.
Yeah, geez.
Don't get to the postgame yet.
All right, check out the pregame because Maz is a part of it, and it's Maz's world. You get to upgrade to front row tickets. Join Woodward Sports, DraftKings, Jose Cuervo, and Riff for the Lions pregame show. Joik Bell, Neil Rule, Maz, and Jade from WRIF.
Actually, Neil's not there. Ryan,
why
do you even read this?
I'll be there too.
This week,
you know what, Maz? Here, tell him. Go ahead, tell him.
Listen, this Sunday, Tin Roof. This Sunday, Tin Roof, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Tomorrow's vacation.
Braylon Edwards, Ryan Armani, Joik Bell, myself, Jade from the Riff. We'll be there. We've got front row tickets for the Lions. Make sure you show up.
All right, you have permission to whip that up.
At the Tin Roof. All right, we'll see you on Sunday. Okay, Braylon?
Yes,
hey, man, don't you hate when you have to do everybody's job?
I mean, come on, man.
Don't you hate when you have to do everybody's job?
I got to call Darren McCarty. I got to call Rod Beard. I got to call Mike O'Hara. I'm up here. I'm in the uncomfortable chair.
You went too far. You went too
far.
By the way, the Yankees...
They're not that uncomfortable. You have their duct tape now.
The Yankees fired a couple of coaches. The Tiger fans are going to know. The Yankees fired Marcus Timms, their hitting coach. And remember the guy that sent Aaron Judge to his death at home plate? Phil Nevin, the third base coach. He's looking for a job as well.
Good.
So the
He should be
Yankees...
looking for a
Phil
job.
Nevin sent a lot of people to their death.
Phil Nevins cost them that game against the Red Sox.
He did. The former Tigers, both of them, Marcus Timms and Phil Nevin, looking for work. Speaking of the Tigers, boys, welcome in to the Bottom Line videos of the day. I take you back. You won't believe it. 15 years ago tonight, it was dusk. It was a really cold Saturday afternoon at Comerica Park.
It's always been a great word, dusk.
The A's and the Tigers tied in the ninth. Up steps Maglio Ordonez.
In the words of Ryan Armani, goose pimples.
How do you not? Listen.
Years ago today, as World Series champions, and October the 14th, 2006, the Detroit Tigers are American League champions.
Tom Brenneman with the call gives you goose pimples, doesn't it?
Oh man, it's amazing. I remember that. It's like, man, yes, the Tigers are back. So
here's my story on that game, Terry. First of all, I want to know where you were. I'll tell you where I was. I had tickets for all these games. I couldn't go to that game because I had to do Michigan football that day, and I think they were playing Iowa, if I'm not mistaken. I was part of the pregame show and the postgame show. So I'm doing
Hawks!
My wife gets to go to that game with my friends and enjoy that walk-off as I'm watching the Michigan Wolverines. And, of course, on my little TV next to me, I'm watching the Tigers march to the World Series. And then they had to wait, 8, 9, 10 days before the stinking Cardinals came to town?
Practiced at Ford Field and lost their mojo.
Isn't that horrible?
Yep.
I was so excited to play the Cardinals because I didn't want to play the Mets that year because I was scared for the Tigers of Johan Santana.
Mets lost in 7.
Johan had a heck of a season that year, so I was scared of Johan Santana. I said, oh, heck yeah, we got the Cardinals. Boy, was I wrong.
You're not kidding, man. Terry, you remember those days? That's 15 years ago, man.
Yeah, I know. I was in the auxiliary press box outside, wherever that was. I think it was down the third base line or whatever it was. So I was there, felt the electricity, and it was live.
It was electric.
But that was what was that, 6 or 7 years of Tiger baseball where it was the place to be.
Yes.
Yeah, he's not lying.
I can't wait for those days again.
Yes.
I don't know if they'll ever be that because that pitching staff was second to none. You can never put something together like that, although they're trying. They're trying, but that was something special, man. And that, to me, even though they lost the World Series, I'm going to put that moment as one of the greatest Detroit sports moments of all time.
Yeah.
Do you think I'm wrong?
No, it is. I mean, when you look at Detroit sports, you got the Maglio home run, you got the Tayshaun Prince block, Darren McCarty, beating
scoring against Hextall,
Claude Lemieux,
Verlander.
What else is you got? Verlander every time, no hitter, not just the no hitters, but taking a no-hitter into the 7th inning.
Yeah.
The Barry 50-yard run for 2000.
Amazing against the Jets.
Yeah, there you go on the right sideline.
I have that newspaper downstairs. Barry Christmas. That was the headline.
Yeah, it was.
I remember that headline. And Steve Yzerman holding the cup for the first time in a million years.
How about when they passed it to Vladdy? That's another great one.
Yeah, that one too.
In 1998
was great.
That was amazing. Darren McCarty beating Hextall to win Game 4 to win the sweep in 1997 and get the Red Wings their first cup in so many years.
I talked to Darren McCarty after that game.
You did.
I asked him about that goal, and you know what he said? Because he made
about
fun
the
of him. No, he made fun of himself that obviously Darren McCarty was not a great goal scorer, and he says even a blind squirrel can find a nut now and then.
Boy, did he make it count. And it's one of the iconic calls of all time as well. Bruce Martin called it because Ken Cal let him call that one. And then, of course, Gary Thorne with the call of the decade on that one on ESPN. So,
and you know what else were great moments?
Like
back in the day,
now.
Tommy Hearns, every time he fought.
I bet.
That was huge.
I bet. I was always rooting for Sugar Ray, though. I'm sorry. I wasn't in
really?
Detroit. I wasn't in Detroit yet.
I wasn't in Detroit yet. Hey, get the hell out.
You blew it.
Listen,
Bye.
time out.
You're fired.
That's what.
I know, because you came here in 93.
Yeah, I came here in 93.
You blew it, though. You're supposed to lie.
Yeah.
I'm not.
You weren't supposed to say anything.
I'm sorry. I was a Sugar Ray Leonard
What's the
fan.
next highlight? Show us the next video.
No. Let's get HR and Fire's ass.
You ruined it.
I love Hitman now.
No,
I love
it's too
Tommy.
late now.
We need to order Hitman.
Wow.
Whatever.
Should have kept that to yourself.
Speaking of boxing, though, Maz.
Speaking of boxing, how about last Saturday night? Tyson Fury, obviously Tyson named after Mike Tyson. I didn't really know that. Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, knockout in the 11th round. These guys had some bad blood. But at the end of the fight, Tyson Fury goes to congratulate Deontay. Check it out.
Never mind, Wolf. There's respect. You got to be fair and square tonight, that's it. I respect because I'm a man. Don't show sport. Don't show by force. You're off fair and square. Listen, I've never cheated in my life. I play fair and square. He's got a bad hatred towards me, I don't know why. But let me tell you, he lost like a man tonight. Put me down 3 times to put him down 4. Great heavyweight fight.
Man,
Tyson Fury is better than me. I would have knocked him out again.
How do you not like Tyson Fury?
I would have sent him to his final step.
How do you not like that guy?
It was just announced that Wilder did break his hand during that fight. Not that it changed. I mean,
wow, his right hand was broke.
You know what?
Didn't matter.
And you know what? You got suckers. There's going to be a Fury Wilder 4.
I hope so. I hope so.
You know why? My hand was broke, and then he was being a jerk in the corner. They're gonna rev this thing up, and it's gonna be a 4. I don't want to see it.
The only reason why there potentially could be a part 4 to this is because the heavyweight division is depleted. All you have is Usyk, who's a good cruiserweight. Shouldn't it be Anthony Joshua?
Maybe he'll
knock Anthony Joshua out. So now you have a cruiserweight that has all the other belts. Deontay Wilder should have fought Anthony Joshua. That didn't happen. He fights Tyson Fury again. Tyson Fury beat Deontay Wilder. There's nowhere else for Ruiz.
They're saying Usyk and Fury is the next fight to make.
Usyk is way too small to fight Fury.
That's how
Joshua
you witness a murder.
Usyk has another
a clause.
rematch, which I don't understand why you put rematch clauses before the fight. That's the stupidest thing ever.
Well, no, if you have the belt, it protects you.
Right.
Because that means if you lose the belt, you automatically get another shot at getting it back. Same thing happened when he lost to Ruiz. He got the belt back from Ruiz. So that's his thing now. He loses to random people and he gets the belt back.
Hey, look, I just want to see more great
Usyk's
fights.
too small.
I want more boxing. I know
good
ours,
boxing.
I want more good boxing. That's all I want. That's
You
all
got
I'm
to
asking for.
You got to turn to Jake Paul if you want to.
No, I don't want that crap.
Jake Paul.
Now Braylon's gonna get up.
And Logan Paul.
Yes.
I don't want that crap.
I'm joking. I use that.
He played Fort Hardy.
We don't joke around here.
Now.
Yeah.
Not for boxing, man. We need more of this. That was really great. And how do you not love Tyson Fury?
The problem with boxing is what's going on is a lot of people that would have boxed back in the day. A lot of people that would have boxed back in the day, they're going to UFC.
Yeah.
A lot of individuals, the young kids in every country, like the young individuals, they're now turning to UFC and they're learning Brazilian martial arts. They're learning jiu-jitsu. They're learning Romo Greco. They're doing that at a young age. So now they're going into UFC as opposed to going into boxing. And that's why you're seeing the the eradication of the sport in itself. But this has been a heck of a show. Ryan Armani will be in with us tomorrow. Shout out to Terry Floss, always coming in the clutch. T. Floss, we appreciate you. Alex, appreciate you, buddy. You're not here. That's why Art and Fish did it. My man Maz always hold me down over the big guy.
Feel better, man.
No, I'm good.
All right.
No, I'm absolutely good. I was struggling yesterday. Today's been good. But this is Armani Network's Woodward Sports, The Bottom Line.
Enjoy sports tonight.